Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the webinar today. Firstly, I'd just like to take the time to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us on this webinar. Today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a look at how you can improve your reporting and how you can get access to data from within Inspire through the use of Phocas, which is an application that we've partnered with in order to be able to deliver some really exceptional results when it comes to reporting and accessing data in a way that you wouldn't normally do through your Inspire system. Now, with that in mind, what I'd like to do is before we get into the demonstration today, what I'd like to do is just start by giving a bit of an overview of myself and Jason, who also is on the call with us. So my name's Daniel Challens. I'm the Senior Account Manager for Inspire. I've been with Inspire now for almost 7 years. And over that time period, I've spent a lot of time with different customers in lots of different industries, whether it's plant and machinery or audio visual, across a whole range of vertical markets. And through that, obviously, we've identified that customers need to get access to Inspire data through the use of various different BI tools, etc. And that's really what's driven today's webinar, to show you how you can leverage some of that Inspire data through the use of Phocas. So I'm going to be heading up the initial introductions today for the meeting, and then Jason's going to be taking over on the actual demonstration of Phocas. So with that in mind, Jason, if you'd like to give an introduction.
Yeah, thanks Daniel, and hello to everyone that's joined today. Just to echo what Daniel said, much appreciate you all taking some time out of your day and joining today. So yeah, I'm Jason Bradshaw. I'm a partner manager here at Phocas, and I manage that relationship between Phocas and Inspire and the other carriage commercial system ERPs as well. But my role really in all of this is just to understand where we can help businesses leverage all of the various data points that exist in a company now. In modern times, you can have a lot of your data stored in your ERP, and that's where sort of 90% of that is stored. But then you could have other systems. You can have Excel spreadsheets in the business. You can have e-commerce data, and all of that data floats around. And we're trying to give you a single source of the truth where you can bring all of that data together in a really simple self-service format. And my role is to try and uncover ways that we can help businesses there and save time, uncover opportunities, and mitigate risks. In terms of myself, I've been at Phocas this is my 3rd year at Phocas. Before that, I spent over 10 years in it sort of selling and also doing implementations of ERP systems, and actually an ERP system in the carriage commercial system family. So I'm very familiar with both carriage and business intelligence at Phocas. So yeah, really looking forward to showing you what we can do today.
Great, thanks, Jason. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at some key areas of focus. In terms of the agenda, I'm just going to cover what's possible at the moment through the existing functionality of Inspire, and then we're going to look at how we can build on that using Phocas. And then we're going to hand back over to Jason. Jason's going to give us an introduction into what Phocas is, who Phocas currently works with, and just some pedigree behind the product. And then we're going to go into the actual demonstration of Phocas itself. So with that in mind, in terms of Inspire at the moment, obviously, as I'm sure you're all aware, Inspire comes as standard, with well over 100 reports within the Inspire system, which is extremely powerful, and it can give you access to key data very, very quickly and easily in the system to allow you to run off those scheduled reports or ad hoc reports to really give you an overview of how your business is performing at any point in time. And then in addition to that, we also have smart views within Inspire, which hopefully all of you are already utilizing, which again, it allows you to build up those custom views within Inspire to get access to some of that really important information to drive processes within the business, as well as in some cases actually replace standard reports by using those smart views. Now, what we're looking to do with Phocas is leverage that Inspire data and provide it to you in a visual format in a way that you just simply can't do in Inspire. And that's going to make it extremely simple for you to slice into that data, analyze it across multiple different facets to really give you access to data in a way that you just haven't had access to it before. So what I'd like to do here is, before we actually go into the demonstration, what I'd like to do is I'd just like to start by asking you all a question. So the question that I would like to ask you is do you feel that you could improve the way that you report on key activities and processes within your business at the moment? So I'll just give you maybe 10-20 seconds there just to hit either the yes or no answers, and then what we can do here is we'll go ahead and then we'll jump in and we'll see how that improves towards the end of the webinar. Okay, so great. I mean, I'm getting a lot of people coming back already. In actual fact, we've got 100% people saying yes, they could improve those processes. So that's fantastic. So, okay, so what we're going to do then now is I'm going to hand over to Jason. And Jason, if you'd like to jump in and then kind of give us an overview of Phocas, who you work with, what it is, etc.
Absolutely, thanks, Daniel. So yeah, Phocas, who are Phocas? You know, some of you may not have heard of us before. It's not a problem. So Phocas is a cloud-based business intelligence tool, which is just a long way of saying we're trying to grab all of that relevant information that sits within your business and give it to you in a really simple self-service platform. We're completely cloud-based, so you can access Phocas from a browser, and that's any modern browser. So you can do that on your phone, on your tablet, on your laptop at home, wherever you need to access Phocas from. And we really concentrate on giving data analysis across the whole business. You know, we're not just a sales tool. We're trying to cover every department really: sales, inventory and stock control, purchasing and procurement, financial data. It could be budgeting. You know, we've just launched early this year our budgeting and forecasting tool. So looking ahead at what the budget is for the next year, what are we forecasting? We have CRM functionality, rebate functionality. We really try and cover sort of the whole circle of the business really, if we can. As a company, we've been around over 20 years. We have offices here in the UK, which is obviously where I'm based, but we have offices in the States and in Australia and New Zealand as well. And through our partnership with Kerridge, we're doing much more in the African region too. When it comes to our customers, we've got over 2,100 companies running Phocas now across that global reach. And there's a whole host of names you might recognise we've just put on screen there. But as I say, there's sort of over 2,100 customers, so it's hard to pick a few logos out. But we work with people across a whole range of different industries. We generally concentrate on that small to medium business area, but that covers a whole range of different vertical markets, whether it's, you know, wholesale businesses, distribution businesses, retail, project-based businesses, rental markets, e-commerce only. It covers a whole breadth of different business types. As long as we can access that data, we can utilize that, put it into Phocas, and really show you something there. And really what we're going to concentrate on today in the demonstration part is the two top layers of Phocas. So Phocas has 3 different layers to it. We've got the dashboarding, or that graphical representation of data, and we'll definitely start there today. We've also got what we call the Phocas grid, or the database layer, and that's really sort of one of the unique selling points of Phocas. It allows you to slice and dice and drill down through your information, through your data, all the way back through to the transaction level information or the source data that comes in. So again, we'll showcase that today. The third layer we won't be showing today, but it allows the more technical users in the business to create their own databases, maybe bring in their own data sources and manipulate and amend existing data sets. So again, it's something to be aware of that exists, but it's not something we'll cover off today.
Great, so thanks, Jason. I'll make you the presenter now, Jason, and then I'll allow you to take control.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. So hopefully, when I click this, I should be now sharing my screen. I'm just going to.
Yes, perfect.
Excellent. That's brilliant. So hopefully on screen there now you've got just a demonstration dashboard that I've put together. And this is just all demonstration data today. So we're going to have to use our imaginations a little bit. But we're going to start on that dashboard layer that I mentioned. And really, hopefully, what will come across today is this isn't going to be a specific demonstration that maybe relates directly to your business. It's really just a flavour of the look and feel of the product, the sort of functionality that you can utilise with Phocas. And then hopefully you can see how that could potentially fit in with your inspired data that you have within the business. But we're going to really try and concentrate on that ease of use factor and sort of stepping away from maybe the more traditional static reporting that you might be used to. And how Phocas can really sort of change that into a more dynamic and proactive approach when it comes to analysis. So this is where we'll start today. This is just a dashboard I've put together. Hopefully you can see this. And at the top here, I've just got some stats coming up on some charts there. You can see sales by location. I've got my sales margin split. I've got some product groupings or product class splits at the top there. And then underneath that, I've just got some KPIs within the business. So whether that's looking at sales figures against a budget. It's probably worth noting that we can bring in budgets or targets into Phocas. So whether they're sitting within Inspire or whether we find 99% of the time they're sitting in an Excel document somewhere. We can bring those in and we can utilize them as part of our analysis, whether that's done at a top level, branch level, product level, sales rep level. All of that can come into Phocas and we can utilize that. And I'm also just doing some analysis against year on year for my sales and my profit as well. And that can be any metric. You could be analyzing quantity or number of hires. It could be any metric that you want to analyze here. This is just an example of the sort of things you can do. And if I just scroll this dashboard down again, I'm just going to very quickly go through the dashboard initially so you can see the sort of things you can do, and then I'll go through some of the functionality of the dashboard. So as I scroll down, it could be that you're just adding some commentary on that dashboard. It could be that you're looking at just figures. You like showing figures on screen, but you can color code those figures as well. Show me, is that a good number, is that a bad number? Or you might prefer to view that year-on-year performance visually in a line chart or an area chart. If I keep scrolling down, I've created a section called sales alerts. Now again, this is just to show the premise, but what this is doing is it's giving you some information with a bit more logic applied to it. So that might be stuff like customers up, customers down, products declining, customers we've lost over the last 12 months, maybe people that are squeezing us on margin and making our lives a bit more difficult. If there's reps or account managers in the business, it could be analysing their performance. If you're splitting your customers up into departments or into different areas, again, it could be analysing the different performance against budget. So again, lots of different areas, but it's just really keying in on some key bits of information that you want to track. Underneath that, I've added a section really concentrating on products and stock. So again, let's look at maybe scrappages or credits or some type of analysis around that to track that by store or by sales rep or by product. Again, you've got loads of different options there. And I'm looking at my current stock mix. Maybe what have I still got in the business? How old is that potential product? Could be something you're analysing. You might be analysing some stock that hasn't moved in a long time. So again, lots of different options around that. And you can even take it that one step further and really go down to individual product analysis and sort of say, okay, well, what's trending upwards in our business? What products are trending upwards? What's being hired more? Or also what's declining? So this product here, steadily grown in popularity throughout the year. This product here, steadily declining. So again, we're just noticing those trend shifts in the business so we can maybe be more proactive with our decision making. And if I keep scrolling down, it could be that you're adding in some financial data, accounts receivable, accounts payable data, show me my age debt analysis, or maybe you're keying in on some real problem areas on the general ledger and you want to analyze, what's my wages against budget? That's one of my key metrics this year, and I really need to keep an eye on that. And at the bottom there, I've just included a bit of a heat map to show you maybe where we're performing well, maybe show me my top customers, maybe show me my decliners on a map so I can work out where maybe someone else has opened up nearby and we've got a bit more competition. So that's just a very sort of quick overview of the sort of things you can put on a dashboard. The next part of that is the functionality of that dashboard. So it's not just a pretty picture, it's not just a static workplace, it is actually interactive as well. So for example, if I just wanted to look at the performance of one of my regions or stores, I could highlight that element of my chart. I could come to this top left-hand corner and you can see that blue button there. If I click that, it will then apply a filter, which you can see at the top of my screen here. And now that's gone away and refresh the whole dashboard now just to look at this one location. So I've selected the UK, and now this is the performance of my UK location. And you can see all my KPIs have updated and all of my figures have updated just to reflect that UK store. And you can go down to multiple levels, so you don't have to just stop at that one filter. I could say, okay, well, actually, I'm just interested in my lights and lamps product group, highlight that, follow exactly the same process, click that blue focus button in the top left-hand corner. You can see that a second filter has been applied at the top. And again, it's gone away and refresh those KPIs and the rest of that dashboard to reflect that. You don't have to just wipe all of the filters out. If you just want to go back one filter, you can see that each of these has a little X next to them. So if I now want to analyze the lights and lamps group across the board and not just in the UK, I can just click the X next to the UK filter. And again, it'll just refresh now just to look at the lights and lamps group. So you've got loads of flexibility when it comes to filtering on that dashboard. When you're finished, you do have the big red reset button there. Click that and it will take you back to that sort of an initial view of when you first loaded that dashboard. So that's the filtering through the dashboard. The other great thing about the dashboard is it's completely linked to that Phocas grid environment that I touched on earlier. So if I just scroll back down to that sales alert section that we touched on here, so all of this information is great, but obviously it's just headlines. 67 customers are down. Okay, well, that's always going to lead to, well, who are they? Why are they down? You want to analyze that a little bit more. So on all of the widget, any chart, any widget, any bit of information that exists on our Phocas dashboards can be drilled into the grid environment as well, into that Phocas grid layer. So in the top right-hand corner, you've got this analyze arrow. And if I just flick around a few of these, you'll notice it's in exactly the same spot on every one of these widgets. So if I wanted to know more about this 67, I can click the analyze arrow. That will then load up that view in the Phocas grid. So you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a list of 67 here, 67 customers on the screen. And then that would then allow me now to ask the next question. Now we're going to just park that to one side a minute, and we're going to actually go into the grid environment so you know how it works first, and then we'll come back to that question a little bit later. So now I'm just going to flick into the Phocas grid. Now, this is just looking at sales related information. This would be the same type of analysis whether you're looking at stock, purchasing, financial data. Once you've learned how the grid interacts and how it works, you can replicate that across all of the different data sets you've got in the business. So this is concentrating on sales related information at the minute. When I first come into this grid, you'll notice that it just gives me a summary. So it's looking at the last 12 months. You've got your periods there on the left, the spend or the sales, I should say, in each of those months, the cumulative total. And then you've also got the previous year and the deltas and the variances at the end. So if we just take note of that number there for 1 second, this particular fake demo business has done 71 million in sales over the last 12 months. And then if I just put your attention to this left-hand side here, so this left-hand side, we call these dimensions, but essentially they're just all the key data points that are coming across from the Inspire system. So that could be, what's the customer code? What's the sales rep or account manager? What's the customer type? What's the product? What's the product grouping? What's the supplier? It might be stuff like, what was the transaction type? Was it invoice? Was it credit, etc.? It could be margin analysis. It could be branch of sale. All of those sort of key data points that are, all that data is tracked in Inspire. We pull that across and then give you a dimension on this left-hand side. Now, what these dimensions do are they group data sets together. So if we just remember that 71.6 million, if I wanted to see a customer report for that 71.6, I can click my customer dimension, and there you can see there's that 71.6 million that we've done as a business, but it's split out by my customers down the page. And obviously then it gives you across the page the month-on-month breakdown of those figures. Now that grouping works with any dimension. So if I then wanted to see that at, let's say, the product level, straight down to product level, you can click that product dimension. There's your 71.6 million. And down the page, you've got your products and then your month-on-month breakdown. And again, you could choose any of these. I'll go to sales rep next, and exactly the same functionality. There's your 71.6 by your reps. Now that's great. That gives you your grouping aspect. But the next part of this is actually the drill down, the slicing and dicing through the information to ask the next question. So we'll just pick on Rick because he's the top sales rep in this example. He's done just shy of 5 million in sales. Now, if I one-click that line, you can see it's highlighted it blue. I can then go and ask my next question. So I can go back to my dimensions on the left and say, okay, well, show me Rick's customers and who he sold to. So let's remember that figure there, that 4999. When I click customer shipped to, you can see at the top, it's applied a filter for Rick. And now we're only looking at Rick's just shy of 5 million and the customers Rick sold to in exactly the same format. And you can follow your train of thought from there. So you can multi-select at this point. So I might say, okay, well, let's pick Rick's top 20 customers. Show me which product groupings they've been purchasing. I just want to look at my lights and lamps and my illumination. Show me which subgroups they've been purchasing. I'm only interested in downlights. Please show me the individual products that they've been buying. So again, hopefully you can see we've gone down 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're on the 5th level there. How quick and easy that is. And once we're at this level, we can even go one step further to the transaction detail. So again, here you might pick something out that you think is slightly odd. Oh, 3,000 that month seems high. You can right click that cell and just hit transactions there. And then Phocas will go away and actually give you the transaction level information. What was the order number? What was the invoice number for each individual instance? So hopefully that just shows you sort of how quick and easy it is to slice and dice and drill through the grid environment. I'm just you might notice here as well that you've got these X's next to the dimensions. So these are all our filters that we've had applied. You don't have to hit the reset button and start again, just like on those dashboards. If you then wanted to look at this performance, not just for Rick, but across the board, you could just remove that one individual filter. And again, you can see there, it's just removed that from the top, and you can continue with that analysis. When you are finished with that query, you can obviously hit the reset button here, or if you're looking to save that information, you've got the star in the top right hand corner, and then you can click Save Favorites. Save Favorites are sort of like a saved report that you can access from your home screen. From here, you could give it a name, you can share it with certain folders within the business, you could share it to certain users within the business, and just hit that Save button from there. You could also add that information to a dashboard, or if you want to, there is an export option there to put that into Excel, into CSV, or indeed into a PDF. And then when you're done, you can hit that red reset button there. So hopefully that gives you just a very quick overview of how you can really simply follow your own train of thought and ask the next question when you're in that data. The next bit we're going to cover off is the functionality bar at the top here. So far all we've done is really group and slice data, but now we want to change maybe how we're viewing that and the sort of information that we're viewing. So we'll start really simply with the period. At the minute, we've been analysing sort of a rolling 12 months worth of information. We can analyse any time period you'd like to within Phocas. So whether you're looking at yearly, 3 months, yesterday, the last 2 weeks, whatever time period you require, whether it's a sort of yearly, monthly, weekly, daily, we can analyse any of that. We can create some standard ones for you to pick from, or you can hit custom and completely do it on the fly. I can go down to daily if I'd like. So again, you can do that on the fly if you'd like to. So we can completely change what date range we're looking at. So in this example, I'm just going to scroll down here. I'm going to select rolling 3 months. And again, as you'd probably expect, the grid will refresh and just give me the last 3 months worth of data that I've got. So far, if I just take you along this top bar a little bit until we get to the measures. So far, we've only been looking at sort of the sales value of the goods. But again, we can report on and do analysis on a number of different measures, whether that's cost, quantity, profit, margin, average values, whatever it might be. Say, for example, I want to analyze quantity instead. It's as simple as coming down to my measures, changing that to quantity, and then in my grid then just refreshes and reflects the fact that I now want to do analysis on the number of units sold or hired rather than the value of that. And then if I keep going across the top, you get to mode. So the standard mode in Phocas is called period mode. And what that does is it looks at the period you've selected. So if we go back to period here, we've got rolling 3 months selected, and it simply gives me a column for each one. If I drop the mode down, you can see there's a whole host of different options, one of which is called total mode. So again, as the name suggests, that'll just give you one column with a total. Now this can come really handy because it allows you to then add in multiple measures in a really clean fashion. So if I go back to this measures box that we've already looked at, I might want a view of data that gives me value, cost, quantity, profit and margin in one view. I can multi-select those measures now by just clicking the tick boxes, come away, and it will just refresh that view of your data with those selected measures now. Now at the minute I've got the customer dimension selected, so now I've got a customer view of information looking at value, cost, quantity, profit and margin. And it will maintain those measures as you go through your analysis. So if I pick the top 20 customers, I want to look at who looks after those by rep. Just show me Rick and Michael's performance, show me which products they're buying. And again, you can see we're still drilling through data, we're still filtering through, but we're maintaining and keeping those measures as we go along. And again, when you finish with that analysis, there's a reset button there to take it back to where you started. So that's covering off total mode. Another mode that's used quite a lot. So let me just change my period back to rolling 12 months. So we've got more data to play with. Another mode that you use quite a lot, if I go back to the mode, is variance mode. So this is giving you a really nice, quick, clean view of your current time period you got selected. So the last 12 months against the previous time period. And again, both the variances, both in monetary terms and as a percentage there as well. You can click any of these columns to sort. So if I wanted to sort it by variance, I could click variance and I could get the good news first, or if I felt brave enough, I could click it again and get the bad news after that. So that's just a couple of different modes that I wanted to show you off the bat. There are various different modes in here, but they're just a couple that I thought would be worth showing very quickly. One of the other pieces of functionality that is very popular is our matrix mode within Phocas. So what matrix mode does is it allows you to pivot information to the top of the grid and do some analysis that way. So a couple of different examples here. Let me pick product groups. So let's say, for example, if someone is purchasing or hiring product A from you, you'd hope they'd be taking product B as well. So what we can do here is I'm just going to pick one of these. I'm going to say, okay, well, let's go to subclass levels, so bring it down a little bit, sort it by spend. I'm going to say that if people are buying downlights from me, I'd hope they'd be taking up the low voltage lighting as well. So what I can do is highlight those two groups, and then this matrix button then becomes available to me. If I click that matrix button, you'll see that they have now pivoted to the top of my focus grid. And then I can come back to my dimensions and I can select what I want on the left-hand side. So in this instance, I'm going to click customer. So now I've got a list of my customers on the left, and I've got actually my figures in both my downlights and LV lighting on the top there. Now, it might be at this stage that you go, actually, I didn't really want value. I wanted to do this by quantity. Not a problem. You don't have to start again. You just change your measure at that point to quantity, and it'll just amend that to quantity. So again, you're not having to start again in a query. It's completely flexible to when you change this information. So now this is a good view in itself. You've got your customers on the left, and you're looking at how many downlights and LV lighting they've been purchasing from us. But then you can use some of the Phocas quick filtering functionality to add some more logic to this. So you might say, okay, well, actually, I want to know all my customers that have bought a downlight that haven't bought my LV lighting. So you can right click and say, well, actually, I only want to show where this column's equal to 0. It will apply a quick filter at the top so you can see what it's doing. And again, there are 239 customers now that have bought something in downlights that haven't bought anything in LV lighting. Now, you might not be fussed if they've only bought a handful. So you can come down here and say, well, actually, this column actually needs to equal or needs to be greater than 5. So they need to have bought more than 5 from us over the last 12 months for me to care. So now that's narrowed it down to 34 customers that potentially there's some upsell opportunity there for them. And again, one of the things you can then do at this stage is you might want more information about your customers on this screen. We have the properties box up here. I could drop that down and say, okay, well, actually, I want to add their full address into this information. We're going to do a mailer. I could drop in the customer information in for full address, and I'll just sort it by top sales. So then you can see now we've got all the full addresses on that screen as well. So we can save that, share it with marketing, export that into Excel, and do what we need to do from there. One of the last things I just wanted to touch on in the grid was something called margin analysis. So I'm just going to go down to the product level, and I'm going to change my mode to total mode like we did earlier. And I'm going to drop in multiple measures like we did earlier. So I'm just going to drop in cost, quantity, profit, and margin all in one view as we were there. So what margin analysis allows us to do is break down your total product sales. So actually, I'm looking at quantity, and I'm going to sort this by quantity now so I can see what we've bought a lot of, what we've sold a lot of, I should say. So we're now sorting it by number of sold. So I'm just going to pick on one and I hope I can find one that has some relevant data here. So we've sold 2,302 of this particular product here. So 2,302 units sold, and we can see we've actually sold that at a margin of 37.04%. What we don't know is if we sold all of those at 37% or if there was a lot of fluctuation in that. So what we can do at this point is highlight that particular product. We can go to the margin analysis button here. Let me just sort it by code so it makes it more obvious. And then we can start getting a breakdown of how we actually sold it. So you can see here, we sold most of them in that 30 to 40% bracket, around the 35, 36%. We actually managed to sell quite a chunk of them at a 41, nearly 42% brackets, which is great. But there is a handful here that we did sell below what we'd like to have done. 93 at 28%, 36 below 10% at 0 cost, and then a few at a loss as well. So again, that analysis piece. So I could then highlight those 3 there that I'm not particularly happy with, and I might go and see which reps sold them or which branches sold them. So let me just turn off net zeros there a minute. So which sales reps sold them, and again, let's sort that by quantity. Okay, well, these 3 are the main culprits. Let's see which customers we sold those to. And again, sort it by quantity. You can see the bulk of the damage was done by these customers here. And again, at that point, you can save that, you can share that around the business. When you're saving reports and you want that information, if I just click this Phocas logo here, it takes you to the Phocas home screen. Now, don't be alarmed by my home screen. It's very busy. It is my demo system, so there's a lot going on. But the home screen is split into 4 sections. There's your favorites that I touched on earlier. So if you've saved some reports that you want to come back to, they'll be listed in your favorites section. And you can see on this right-hand side, there's a little envelope next to these. So if I wanted my current versus short-term forecast, I could subscribe to that and actually say, well, actually, I could do with that being sent to me monthly on the first day of the month at 8 AM as an Excel, please, and subscribe to that report. So again, just pushing that information to you. Now, there's a slightly more advanced version of that called the alerts. Now, alerts are like a saved favorite, but they've got a color-coded traffic light system against them. So if I'm analyzing, customers that have stopped purchasing or products declining, let's pick products declining. So if I want to subscribe to that, I can actually now apply a little bit more logic to it and say, actually, well, I want to know about that weekly on a Monday at 8 o'clock, but only tell me about it if it's red or yellow. If it's in the green category, what I deem to be okay, don't tell me about that. I actually only want to know when it's a problem, so I can then step in and do that. So don't I don't want to have to fight through the noise, fight through the data to find this. Just push it to me if it becomes a problem. And that's where the alerts can come really useful. And you can create alerts for anything, whether it's customer sales, product sold at a loss, low stock on certain ranges, and whether it's a financial, financial KPI you've got set up. Again, completely up to you how you set those alerts up. One of the great things about Phocas as well is if you have created a dashboard or a favorite report that you want to share around the business, but you're worried that you're going to be sharing incorrect information, there is a full user admin panel that sits behind all of this that has user restrictions. So if you were sending this you wanted to send a dashboard to a branch manager, it'll automatically filter it so they're only looking at their branch's information. So you're not going away and creating multiple different dashboards and reports for each individual branch. That user's permission level will actually dictate what they can see. So you're only creating one version of that report or that dashboard, and you can send it around knowing that as long as the permissions are set up correctly, they're not going to see anything that they shouldn't have. So that was a very quick overview of the dashboarding and the grid. The bit I'll just finish on is the financial element of Phocas. So looking at all that sort of operational data at the front end, sort of sales, stock, purchasing information, is one side of it, and then on the other side of it you've got that financial information. So we can do accounts receivable, accounts payable data, which we've touched on a little bit, but what we can also do is start looking at your management reporting as well, looking at stuff like your profit and loss and your balance sheet, your cash flow statements, and your trial balance within Phocas. Now, because this is all built on the standard Phocas functionality, you've still got all of your dimensions, you've still got all of your slice and dice information, you've got your periods at the top, you can amend the time period you're looking at. So all of that, those elements we just saw on the operational side still exist. What we've done now is taken that one step further and put that sort of management reporting overlay on that information. So here you can just see a profit and loss report for the last 12 months, broken down and customized to how I want to view it with my current figures and also my budgetary figure there as well. Now, you can expand this information out. So if I'm looking at operating expenses, you can click the plus and that'll just drop you down into the GL code level information. And you can see all the figures are there. Again, you've got that right click ability to click transactions here if you want to. So you can go down to the actual postings and journals that make up that information. But again, because it's built on Phocas, really customizable. So for example, if I wanted to start looking at stuff at branch level or in my instance, country level, I can actually drag that into this levels box up here. And as you can see now, if I now go back to my operating expenses, it gives me it creates me a new level of my information. So now it gives me that barrier and I can flick into UK and then look at my UK only operating expenses. And you can do that to multiple levels as well. So if I now put subcategory in there and drop that in there, you can see that if I go back into operating expenses, back into UK, it's then splitting it by my subcategories. You might change your mind and think you want it the other way around. Again, really simple, just to pick that up, move the levels over and look at that the other way around. So operating expenses by my subcategory, just want to look at my marketing. There it is by territory. So again, really nice and flexible. You've also got the other way you can view this data. So if you'd rather look at this in that matrix mode that we touched on, that's also possible. So if I now go to say country, if you've got multiple branches and you want to look at a consolidated view and a branch split, you might prefer to look at it this way. So I can highlight all my different branches. I can click that matrix button there, and then I can return back to my financial statement, and you can have that consolidated total, but also a split down branch by branch across the top. So it just depends how you like to consume your data and how you'd like to view that, but you've got all that information to hand as well. As well as that, you can completely customize how you look at this information. You might decide that instead of looking at it against just the budget, you also want to look at it against previous. So you're looking at current against previous against budget. You can also start dropping in percentage contributions, percentage revenues. It could be that you wanted this broken down month on month as well instead. So instead of looking at it as a total, you get a month on month breakdown. So there's loads of different options for you around that. And all of this is built because you can completely customize your own statements. So if you click the star and go to the statements button, and I go into my profit and loss, you can completely control this yourself. You can input your own calculations. So if you want to start looking at your EBITDA, or you've got certain ratios that you want to include, you can absolutely do that here. And you can also go into the account section and do your own custom mapping. So if there's some additional data sets that you want to include that maybe doesn't exist in your current financial package, you can come in here, create some new departments, and align those within Phocas itself. And of course, because this is all built on the standard Phocas platform, if I go to my dashboards, you can then maybe start creating your own financial based dashboards as well. So your dashboards can have whatever you'd like on them, obviously. It could be a mix of all the information, or it could be a whole host of different things, but you can have your financial information on here, include your balance sheet data, age debt analysis, what's our cash position, what are our bank accounts looking like, etc. So lots of ways you can display that information within Phocas. So just scrolling back up there. So just to summarize, that's really what I wanted to show you today, was just to give you an idea of how that data can be interacted with within the Phocas tool, using dashboards, but also that Phocas grid environment, and how simple it is and how quick it is to really slice and dice and drill that information through. And we can connect into Inspire and get that data out and into Phocas. And if you've got Excel sheets or any supplementary systems as well, we can look to bring those in also. So hopefully that gives you a really nice overview of what the product can do and for the look and feel of that.
That's great. Thanks, Jason. I really appreciate your time there. I think that's a fantastic overview of what you can achieve using Phocas, and obviously leveraging that Inspire data in terms of looking at additional things as well, such as asset utilization, asset analysis, depreciation, etc. All possible to bring through to Phocas, which is specific to the hire industry. So what I'd like to do then is based on what we've seen today at the beginning of the webinar, we asked a question, which was how many of you felt that you could improve your reporting within your business. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to ask the question again. But this time I'd like to do this based on what you've seen today. Do you feel that you could actually improve how you report on your business using the Phocas application? So again, we'll give 10 seconds or so just for people to start filling this in here, which I can see already. Fantastic. Okay, we'll give it 5 more seconds maybe, and then we'll close that off. That's great. Okay, so thank you very much, first of all, everybody, for joining today. I appreciate the time that you've taken out to come and sit on the webinar and view and understand what Phocas and Inspire can offer to you as a business. I certainly hope that this has given you a lot of food for thought in terms of going away and thinking about how this could be utilized. If you'd like any more information, or you'd like a further demonstration of Phocas to perhaps go down into a bit more detail specific to your industry, then please reach out to myself or your account manager at Inspire, and then we can certainly put the wheels in motion and get involved with Phocas and see how we can offer Phocas to your business. I'm sure that for some of you there may be some questions around pricing, etc. as well. So again, if you've got any other questions, please come through to either myself or your account manager, and we'd be more than happy to discuss the various subscription models and pricing, etc. around Phocas. But for now, that's everything from myself. So I'd just like to say thank you for everyone for joining. Jason, my thanks goes out to you for providing the demonstration today. Thank you. And I would like to leave it there today. So thank you everybody for joining, and we look forward to seeing you on the next Inspire webinar. Thank you.
Thank you.